Welcome back to my channel. What you just saw was the picture of a Chinese engineer or astronaut testing out some new equipment and technology in the Gobi Desert. The picture caught my attention. It's from the Washington Post, and it reminded me of the movie The Martian, starring Matt Damon, and I think directed by Ridley Scott. I'm going to talk about why that picture and the article are important in the following video, but first I want to say that there's something that I said in the following video that's inaccurate. In the video I say that Gillette is owned by Warner Lambert, and it's actually Proctor Gamble. So again, I said it was owned by Warner Lambert, and instead it's Proctor Gamble, and I'm glad I made that catch. Lastly, I want to say that while this video is dealing with money, financial literacy, and investing, I am not rendering financial advice in this video. It is simply a story about thinking of things to invest in and researching things to invest in. So with that, please enjoy the video. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Yusuf Dunbar. I am the owner and the founder of Big Discussions. I'm also the owner and the founder of the Big Words blog site. The information for my blog and all of my social media contact info can be found on the banner of this channel. Today is August 7th, 2019, and the title of this video is A Big Discussion on Money, Gillette, and China's space program. So I didn't intend to make a video today, but I decided to do it after reading something in the newspaper this morning, and also after something that happened and something that I saw last week. So my goal here is to be brief, so let's dive in right now. So as you know, one of the focuses of my blog and one of my personal passions now is financial literacy and money and investing. And so I have been fortunate and blessed in that I am very close to being able to safely buy something in the stock market. So you might be wondering what I mean by that. And so my mentor, and he would probably cringe if he saw this video, and he'll probably see it eventually, but he is of the opinion that investing in the stock market is very dangerous for people who have not been formally trained in business or who don't have the time to do it, or who don't have the time to devote a lot of time to it. I hope that came out clear. But I feel like for someone of my education level and someone of my education level, I should, at least try it and get some experience with it. And I will probably ask him and his son questions about it, either beforehand or after. And I've just been, over the last couple of months, just been thinking of ideas of what I would invest in. And he actually recommends to anyone who asks him about investing or learning how to invest, he recommends reading The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. And this is a thick book. It's very dense in terms of its text. I've gotten about halfway through, but one of the most important lessons in there is that you should only invest a fraction of what you actually have. So, right now, as I learned from my mentor, I tend to measure wealth and I tend to measure my financial health based upon my net worth. And I will leave that podcast in the description box, in addition to my written version of that podcast. So those will be in the description box below. So I'm saying this to say that whatever my first stock move is, whether it's an exchange traded fund or an individual stock itself, it will be just a small piece of what I actually have, and that's not counting my retirement savings. So there are two things I want to talk about in this stock / investing space. So the first one is Gillette, and I got this idea from another YouTube content creator that I watch named Aaron Clarey. And Aaron Clarey made a video last week about Gillette, and if you recall, Gillette released an ad several months ago basically called The Best a Man Can Be. And so it basically, depending upon where you sit in the world, it was basically, a lot of men considered it an attack on manhood. It was designed to attack toxic masculinity, but it was in large part an attack on manhood. So a lot of men decided that they would no longer patronize or buy Gillette products or Warner Lambert products. I think that's the parent company of Gillette. And so I myself also decided to no longer buy their products, and now I buy Bic razors here. And in Aaron's video, Aaron talked about an article that came out saying that Gillette suffered a write-down. And I'm looking at Investopedia right now, and so a write-down is an accounting term for the reduction in the book value of assets whose fair market value has fallen below the book value and thus become an impaired asset. So I'm just going to say two things. If you don't like four-letter words, don't listen to Aaron's video. I'm going to leave that in the description box because he really rips the CEO of Gillette, and that's because the CEO, it sounded as though he willingly went along with that ad, knowing that it might hurt the finances of their shareholders, of people who have Gillette in their retirement accounts, and also of the employees of the company. So Aaron really rips the guy. But I think it's a good example of how companies, when they decide to make social messages, how some of those things can reverberate, and how there can be a ripple effect, and how it can actually hurt the company. I think Nike ultimately was okay with Kaepernick, with the Colin Kaepernick stuff, but it seems that Gillette may be permanently or significantly damaged from the after effects of that ad because they alienated some of their main customers. So I thought about investing in that at some point because of a potential hit they might take, but I don't think I'm going to touch it at all now. So let's see. So space. Let's talk quickly about outer space. So the picture you saw at the beginning of this video was from the Washington Post, and when I'm not reading The Intelligent Investor or The Millionaire Mind, I'm trying to grab all and any financial information I can get. So I get the Washington Post every Sunday. I originally got it so that I could coupon and take advantage of sales. That's fallen off, but I still try to read the business section, and I'm looking for trends. I'm looking, for indicators as to whether or not we're in a recession, or if a recession is approaching, or I'm looking for clues as to what stocks to buy. I'm looking for clues as to which sectors are thriving and which ones are tanking. And so I just try to read the business section as often as I can. So I thought this was interesting because, as you know, I'm involved with the Friends of the David M. Brown Arlington Planetarium. So I know my background is not space and astronomy and astrophysics, but I know a little bit about it now to be able to follow in some of the discussions. So this article is entitled "Another Front in U.S.-China Tensions Space." And so while the United States and China are going through this trade war, it seems that we're also engaged in a space race. So from the article, I learned that our last manned space mission was 8 years ago, and right now a lot of our space missions and activities, for example, going to the International Space Station, that requires us to closely work with Russia. So while Russia may be hacking, our social media and influencing our elections, we work closely with them when it comes to space travel at this point, and that's independent of companies like SpaceX and Virgin Galactic, and I think Jeff Bezos even has his own space exploration or space or engineering company or company to create spacecraft, whatever. I can't think of it right now. But China's investing a lot of resources into this. It seems that India is investing a lot of resources into this as well. And it seems that, according to this article, the United States we're just kind of fighting to maintain our position and stay in the race. But the article said that China has been able to launch and land unmanned spacecraft onto the dark side of the moon. And they're very interested in the southern part of the moon because there are potential water and gas deposits there. And because of that, if they can successfully land there and set up operations, that can be a launching point for even larger space exploration missions. For example, right now, Elon Musk is a lot of his efforts are geared towards going out to Mars. So that's kind of the big thing at the planetarium that we've been telling children and telling audiences, is that that's the big thing. And so there's a lot of opportunity career-wise if there's a child who's involved in physics and astronomy and aerospace. There's a lot of that's one of the next big efforts. So I'm saying all this to say that I'm always on the lookout for investing ideas, and this piqued my interest because they're going to need to build new technologies, and they're going to need to create new and more innovative and more durable and more advanced spacecraft to be able to colonize the moon or get to the moon, and then to even go beyond. So I'm saying that to say that these are things that I realized that in order to invest, or when investing, you actually have to know about the investing. You have to know some of the rules, like, for example, having enough money to invest with, but you also have to think about where you're going to put the money. And another one is, are you investing for cash flow, or are you investing for capital gain or growth? So you have to know what that particular company is doing and where its growth stage is. Is it a young company that's looking to sprout up, or is it an older company that's throwing off dividends? But I'm saying this to say that you want to invest. I realized and I've learned that you want to invest in things that you know about. And so I do a lot of thinking about the pharmaceutical industry because I have a background in pharmacology and toxicology. And because I know a little bit about aerospace and space exploration and astronomy and astrophysics, this article piqued my interest, and it's something that I will be looking at with great interest as time continues to unfold. So while our news cycle is dominated by President Trump and the elections and the Democrats and all these different things and the border crisis, there are other things going on in our world and beyond. And while we're engaged in a trade war with China, China is making a lot of moves in continents like Africa, and now they're also looking to make moves in outer space. So it's important to pay attention to these things and to keep these things in mind if you're looking to invest money and if you're looking for new and novel ideas for investing your money and where to place it. So that's what I wanted to say. I'm not giving any financial advice, but I just thought that it would be a good video, and I thought this would be a good topic since this is something that I'm passionate about, and this is something that I think about on a daily basis. And if you have any comments on China's space endeavors or our space endeavors or investing in space exploration or anything I've said here, please leave a comment in the comment box below. I'm going to leave my net worth piece in the description box in addition to my net worth podcast, and I'm also going to leave my blog post about the fact that Facebook years ago was a good investment to get into, as was Bitcoin, if you got in at the right time. And the title is actually called "We Should Have Invested in Facebook and Bitcoin Stock," and it just talks about being able to take advantage of moves and recognizing investment opportunities and being in position to take advantage of those investment opportunities when they present themselves. So with that, I'm going to conclude this discussion / ramble, and always remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.